all them portable preamps you putting out there.
Yeah, remote preamps, yeah.
Remotely.
Starting a new one now.
You have to start your video over?
Yeah, I pulled a camera out of it to try to get it to focus, but it wouldn't take it back again.
Oh no.
We'll call this old radio night number 2.
Oh, hey, 21, piece of paper and like a dark piece of paper in the front of that lens won't cause that camera to refocus.
I put my hand in front of it, did all kind of stuff. It's doing good now. I got it going, looking good.
Well, that don't answer my question. You put your hand in front of it, that's a long way from a dark piece of paper.
Right. Well, I'll have to, let's see. Well, I'm scared to do anything now because it's so nice.
Yeah, that's right. Next time, let me put my hand in front of it. I think I can get it refocused.
Okay. All right, well, try to stick your hand out long enough and maybe take it till next week to get it this far.
That's right. Y'all fellas have a good one. Old Slim's gonna put it at you later. I've had enough for today. I'm back quiet.
All right, man. Good to hear you out there. Take it easy now.
That's right, Slam. Always a pleasure on this end. We'll do it again on the bumper round, Slammer. You know who it is. I'm back quiet. Bum.
Oh yeah, you can see the meter good now.
Yeah, 10-4, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I was messing around with that old scary microphone there, and I think it confused the camera with all those different flashing lights and, all kind of mess there. I think it had it all screwed up, so anyway.
Check.
Cosmetically, that Cam 88 looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, it looks brand new. Inside too. Like I say, it's got switches inside. I don't know what they're for. I'm sure they're for extra channels or something like that. But I'm not going to pull the case off of it and run my hand all up in there with, the high voltage and start switching around. And then it's got that silicone type of wire with a photo plug on it for a VFO. But I don't know, no one knows what type of VFO to use, but whoever did it knew what it took.
Only VFO I know right off that work with that would be the Glen VFO, since you can program that to work with just about anything.
Roger. I went and picked up one of those scary microphones from Lowe's there.
Which one is that? You already had the big one that they sell down there at, what is it, the Yeti, whatever it was they sell down there at Best Buy?
Yeah, that's the one I'm using, the Yeti. Blue there, Yeti. But this is a play microphone here.
Sure thing, too.
I'll have to hear this little tiny radio. Check, check. Yeah, 10-4. I appreciate it.
You told me when you start messing up buttons, oh, you pull a willy on me. Look like a damn real one.
Yeah. They had it marked way down, so I said, what the heck, man, I'll have all kind of fun with it, you know.
You have a good time for that. Especially if smart one comes in and thinks it's smart.
Yeah, I could have sold it to you and had it hooked up to your radio, and you'd have been talking on 2 days and wouldn't even know it wasn't a real microphone. Microphone, first one I ever had, talked back to me. I like this one.
We'll be sitting there going, there's that dead key in there again.
Where'd you go, crazy man?
I'm over here blowing my carburetor.
Oh.
I was thinking if I go back there, turn that heater up on that thermostat. There's chili in this house. And I don't have no bowl of chili.
Yeah, Roger, yeah. Like I say, it hasn't been getting cold in the house there a little bit. Like I say, in the morning, when I go in there and take a shower, I'll turn that little small space heater on in the bathroom there and warm it up just a little bit, and everything's good. I don't need it the rest of the day inside.
I know you, yeah, I got one of them. Got two of them sitting over here. One installed it, one stopped on the power saver. You have to accident knock it over, it cuts off.
Right.
I like them kind.
I got one of those old ones, you know, that you put white gas in and you pump it up with like a plunger, and I like to get that one on at night and go to sleep.
I know you right.
Not just kidding.
I tell you one about you like that. Go to sleep now, he'll be on for no.
I just don't understand these people, to get warm, they got a daggum charcoal grill inside their house, and then they fall over dead, you know, from carbon monoxide, or else they got a daggum generator inside the house. Man, come on.
That is stupid. That's suicide, yeah. I think that roommate must be suicide model type. He goes to bed every night with AC on, had AC on all day in that front bedroom, man. Ain't no way I can get in there and get it cut off.
Oh yeah, you can do it. Go right there behind your door in the bedroom and flip that switch.
Yeah, I had to flip every damn switch and find out see what one is. I don't know. Somebody be standing by, went outside and let me know on the phone.
Yeah, 10-4. Well, that's something to do when he's gone one day, and then mark it with a magic marker, and then as soon as you know he's gone to bed there at night, just flip it off, and then, you know, wake up about an hour before he gets up, and then cut it back on, you know.
Yeah, he gets, during the week, he gets up around 25, 5:30.
Yeah, 10-4. Well, just leave it off, tell him to trip the breaker.
Yeah, I've been on him, tried that a few times.
Oh.
21.
Yes, sir.
You talking about what people do as far as heat is concerned. Back in the mid-80s, I had to go TAD to Scotland to work on a submarine over there. We was over there for about 30 days on availability over there. And over there, you got a whole bunch of hotels during that time. So it was bed and breakfasts. And what they do over there, all the common areas, and it's cold as heck in the New Scotland, all the common areas are not heated. And the rooms that they were renting, they had transformers, so you had to make sure you had enough coins to last you through the night if you wanted to just keep that heat on all night there, right?
Oh, God. That's crazy.
I remember reading some article about this was somewhere over, in a third world country. It was like a desert area, and there was a bridge. It was a wooden bridge, and they had to like bring the wood in, but it was like a high desert, so it could get real cold. And they said the locals are going over there and cutting pieces of wood off the bridge to burn to keep warm. And so when they'd come by through there, the bridge would eventually fall down because the locals been in there sawing pieces of wood off the bridge.
Uh,
Yeah, over in Great Britain back during that time, and they still got an energy problem over there. I mean, gas and everything is sky high over there. So that's what they did to kind of solve their economic problems as far as heat energy is concerned.
What I did one time up in Rock Hill was the power had gone out, and it was in winter and it was real cold. And there's that house I was in up there, and had a big room with a lot of big glass windows. And there was a bunch of those black music stands like you see in a band room, the big heavy duty black music stands. Well, those things get in the sun, they get so hot, you put your hand on it, it'll burn it. And so I took those old black music stands, like you see if you're in band in high school or something. I stuck all those things out there in the sun, and they basically turned into a bunch of heat radiators, because there was, several of them around the house, and that did help warm that room up.
yeah, the old wood stove, though, the wood seemed like that's the best heat, But they finding out now that, you can get cancer from that. Not from the wood smoke, but from the excess heat. A lot of firemen are come down with that, skin cancer. I didn't know that, anyway. My grandmother up in Tennessee, she had right there in Chattanooga, they'd back up in the yard and dump a big old load of coal over there in her front yard and behind the hedge there, and she'd go out there in wintertime, and she'd wait till it was already gone out. And with a coal stove, you got to build a fire to make a fire, so you're freezing to death in there, and so she's going to go out there and 80 years old, 90 years old with a little hammer and tap on the big old pile of frozen flat coal and bring a little tool pieces in, and open up the stove and get some newspaper and then some sticks and other wood and get that going and put that in there. It might be an hour before you even hardly feel anything. I never did like to go up there during the wintertime. I don't know how those people didn't die from getting pneumonia or whatever,
Well, some of them did.
Yeah.
And 21, and they put those 50-pound quilts on you. That was pretty warm.
Yeah, you couldn't move, Pull them right up on you by your neck, and you mashed down in the bed there.
You remember a couple of years ago, we had that ice storm in February, and because they're not used to getting that ice, all those trees, broke everywhere. Looked like a hurricane came through, but it was ice. And I didn't have any power for, 4 or 5 days. I think 21 when it went even longer. And it got right chilly. I definitely had multiple blankets, piled up on my bed trying to keep warm, because I hadn't had any power for 4 or 5 days. And I think 21, you said you didn't even have power for even longer than that.
Yeah, 10-4, yeah, I didn't have any there. I was running some, what was I using? I don't remember what I had there for heat there. I had a generator going there some, and I think that was the bomb cyclone, wasn't it?
I just know, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, you drive around, they're just broken limbs everywhere, from the ice piling up, and they're not used to getting that, we're not used to getting that here. And it looked like a hurricane came through, and it was just ice, all these broken limbs and trees split and everything.
Yeah, I remember that was the one before this last one we had. On the outside wall, I've got kitchen with a cabinet, of course, you know, it's on a outside back of my house where the sun doesn't get at till later on in the daytime. And I was doing something outside and came in and I heard a bunch of water running and all, you know, and I said, daggum, somehow the daggum dishwasher's done cut on because it was coming right out by the dishwasher. I said, they must have cut the power on. Well, they had cut the power on, but what it wasn't dishwasher running. One of those stainless steel flexible hoses going to the sink had frozen and burst open and was spraying water, and it was running underneath the dishwasher, going down to the vent under the house and filling up the ductwork with water. Anyway, I found it, shut it off, but luckily it didn't get on anything. It was on a tile floor. It didn't make it onto the wood floor, but it messed up the wood a little bit under the tile, but it didn't really hurt anything. But man, I tell you, they said those stainless steel things will hold 5,000 psi. They probably will, but they won't. They'll freeze and bust open. If you're going to do anything, just use that PEX. It'll freeze and swell up, but it won't burst open.
Go ahead.
What's happening there, Night Ranger and 21? 123 up here in Macedonia, over.
Hey, 123. Just having the old radio night. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, I tried to get in here and say hello to you guys for a second. I was just rolling through. So I'll say hello to you and hello to 21 also. 73. 123 will be clear.
Hello there, 123, bootlegger out there around Macedonia up in that way. I'm waving a hand, I'm back out.
7321, take care, bud.
'99. Who was that there, Night Ranger?
I didn't hear him.
Who was that that came in there just now? Oof.
Yeah, that 123 out there, one of you too. Tell him crazy man waving.
Who's the other break?
I hear him out there talking there. Say he wanted to do something there. Who's that way out there talking there, Bray?
Top of the evening to you, 21. If you can copy me, this is Lucky saying y'all sound real good in Sumter County. Come on.
So you're trying to wave a hand. Where are you here? Come on. Is that you there, Lazy Bones? Yeah, Roger, you're about an hour east of him there, Roger. Yeah, okay. Well, tell me one more time. I got about a 2-pound copy on you there. What is your handle? Where are you at now? Okay, you're in Allendale, Huckleberry. Okay, man, I got you. All right, well, I had to turn the volume up a little bit and lean over here. I got to kind of look at the meter to help me hear people there. It's kind of weird, but that's what I have to do there. I have to look at the meter. So, all right, there, Huckleberry, 99 in Allendale. I'm waving a hand. All right, man. Yeah. Well, we got this live stream going on YouTube, so you'll be on there if you want to check it out. All right, there, 99 Huckleberry. It's 21 back out.
Hey, how about it, 21?
Yeah, come on.
Top of the evening to you. This is Lucky. I don't know how long I have you, but I'm in Sumter County saying you don't sound loud and proud over here. you?
Yeah, Lucky, where are you at?
Oh, about 5 miles into the town of Sumter, just about east, 6 miles east of Alcaloo, South Carolina. Come on.
Yeah, Roger, east of Alcaloo near a Sumter up there. Well, shoot, you up there in Big Bend territory there, Roger?
810-4, Mersey. I'm out in the mobile floating around, fixing to head back into the house there, right?
Yeah, Roger, on that there, Lucky. All right, well, let me stand by so them other fellas can holler at you up there around that Sumter area there. Have a good one.
10-4, y'all too, man. Just wanted to get that quickie in there. Take care.
Lucky sounding good over here around Monk's Corner, Night Ranger on this end.
10-4, Night Ranger. Top of the night to you there.
.15-4 is about to burn up his beams at Rotor over there.
Just 2 bearings, but I still can't hear them.
We had some good ground wave past couple of weeks. I've talked to Winston-Salem and talked to Raleigh, talked to Aiken, and this morning I talked to Knoxville, Tennessee, and it wasn't skip either, it was ground wave. So I got into talking to Raleigh, and then here came Knoxville, Tennessee. That was pretty good for ground wave.
Yeah, well, last weekend, believe it or not, Alabama was in there.
I heard Dallas coming in backscatter this afternoon. I heard the guy in Dallas, 421 in Dallas, talking, and I switched to my 6 element collinear array pointed out west, and he disappeared. And that's what I pick Texas on normally when it's coming in direct. So then I switched to the Lazy H pointed down towards the Gulf, and that's where he was coming in. He was bouncing off the water.
Roger.
Let me go let the dog out. She's over here pawing at the door. Be right back.
We know who will let the dog out now.
Hey, 21, have you ever heard John Deere when he's talking somewhere else, talking out here too?
I've heard him before. It's hard to hear him, but I have heard him, but it's real low.
Damn right, that's amazing, man. He caught coming all the way down here to Charleston. From where he's at, I mean, that's quite a feat.
Yeah, 410. Well, I was on vertical when I heard him. I hadn't been on, flat and done it there, but, yeah, he's usually talking somewhere else out west or down up north there, and a lot of times he doesn't turn down this way. I hadn't been able to really catch him doing that, but I have heard him on the mobile before and down in Charleston.
Yeah, damn right. Whenever he swung down there trying to talk to them boys down in Barbados, down in that area, you got to be looking this way, and I mean, I almost can hear it like he's transmitting down here. That's how clear he is.
Yeah, 10-4. Well, he ought to be with it. You know, in that room, they say one time there's like lightning bolts going all up inside that room he's in.
Yes, sir. I think he's got his own power company.
He said he's down in the valley down there. I met some of those guys at that CB club up from that way years ago. They came down here, and I don't remember the name of the club there, but anyway, they was telling me about his setup there.
Yeah, damn right. That's just amazing, being way up in top part of South Carolina talking down here like that.
We've had good conditions this week. You know, like I said, I talked to Aiken, or Chuck over in Greenwood. He's up on 38 lower sideband. Talked to John, NC 39, just north of Winston-Salem in Rural Hall, North Carolina. Talked to him. Talked to Raleigh. Talked to 2 different people in Raleigh. We've been having good ground wave conditions, particularly like in the morning.
Yeah, well, right around 9 o'clock, I'm going to try to sneak up there to 14 if I don't get keyed on, and try to talk to Mountain City, North Carolina, Black Rock Mountain up there with Georgia Cracker and them's up there got that a prayer request and a shootout, and you hear Tennessee, and I don't hear them, but that same night, Augusta, Georgia, we talked to them. I don't know where else there. Beaufort County, somewhere down, but that one night, me and Crazy Man was on there. Valdosta, Georgia. I know how far that is because I used to live down there. That's like 280 miles, 60 miles, you know. And then used to always get those guys in Valdelia. There was two brothers there, and once in a while get Waycross, but I don't hear them anymore.
There was an amp that was for sale down around Valdosta, Georgia. I was debating on whether to make a road trip or not, but I guess it finally sold. It disappeared. Somebody had an Alpha 99 with that, what is it, the 4CX800 tubes in it.
Did you see that one I sent you? That video, the one I sent you?
Yeah, the 3CX3000A7.
Man.
That's just too much juice for me. I mean, even though if I bought one, I'd have to rebuild every single antenna I got. I'd have to put in probably another power box to power, because you got to have like 50 to 60 amps to run one of those at 240, so that's just too much trouble. I just go out in the yard and build a bigger antenna.
Yeah, 410. Well, what I wanted to do, I'd go ahead and look here and make it a low drive amp there. I want to just key up like 1 watt, swing to 12 watts. I don't want to put no 400 or whatever into it to get 12 grand out of a Bird peak kit there. 10 kW, you know, just make it where I can like key up with regular radio and I'll be happy there. And then if you mess with me, you know, I have to slam it down, you know. But I think that's that same guy. Well, I don't want to say who it is anyway. Hey, something must have happened, and he had to change names there.
Who knows? But yeah, at least that was a reasonable output for that thing. At least it's not like a big blooming idiot. any resemblance of somebody else whose initials match Big Blooming Idiot are purely on purpose. But yeah, Big Blooming Idiot trying to drive a Drake L4B with 450 watts and claiming it'll put out 2,700 watts.
Like that old song, you know, smiling faces, you know, so, but anyway, they ain't gonna kiss my butt. And anyway, all right, well, I said it, and I'm gone.
All right, we dumbled a little bit. I was talking about like Big Blooming Idiot trying to claim a Drake L4B would put out 2,700 watts if he's trying to drive that thing with 450 watts in.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, while I get on that subject, I got my band switch up here. I'm going to put it in front of the camera here. He said, this is the band switch that was pulled out of a Drake L4B. 21's already seen this. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on it. Okay. See those little screwed up tabs that are like burned? This is a Drake L4B, came out of a Concord, North Carolina Hamfest years ago, and this is the band switch that I had to pull out of that thing because some moron was putting more than 100 watts in it and toasted that band switch. And you cannot get these band switches new anymore. I had to go on eBay and somebody parted out a Drake MN2000 antenna tuner which has the same band switch. Unfortunately, I was able to get a replacement band switch. But this is what happens when you put more than 100 watts in a Drake L4B, you toast the band switch. So for that Big Blooming Idiot, he's got his comments disabled. So in case he stumbles on this video, you don't have any business putting 450 watts in a Drake L4B, you idiot.
Careful.
What a damn moron. All he had to do is read the manual. It says right in the manual 100 watts.
Maybe he's reading the disk drive on a dozy.
And he's got that Bird 43 all jacked up. He's got all these holes and switches in it. So he's got like tell me the truth mode and lie like a dozy mode.
Yeah, and some real preamps turned on.
That just made me cringe. 450 watts into a Drake L4B. I was like, did you even look at the little input tiny wafer switch on the input side of that amp? See the size of that little teeny tab that the input power is going into those 3-500s? There's no way that little teeny sliver of metal is going to handle 450 for long.
You ought to incorporate that little short video I made off of that thing for you with it catching on fire.
Yeah, make a special video for Big Buffoon in Idaho.
Yeah, just that one, that picture, the little short one that you send me, you know, with that band switch, and then I put that thing catching on fire on there. You know, stick that in there right where you're talking at. So yeah, there, boom, yeah.
It was like that other moron Rooster. What were these 650 watts into two 3CX 1500 A7s? I think the recommended drive power on those is what, like 65 watts per tube, and he put 650 watts into two of them, and those are what, $1,200 tubes, something like that, or 800 if you get a Taylor Chinese import.
410? Yeah, I don't know.
I saw that. I definitely did a face in palm and just shook my head. There was a video on YouTube years ago which has been deleted. A guy's handle was Georgia Winemaker, and he was driving a Drake. No, I'm sorry, he was driving a DNA Phantom. I don't know if it was the 10 or the 12 tube, but he was driving a DNA Phantom with a DNA Maverick, trying to put out a kilowatt. I was like, oh my gosh. And then they bring it to me, or somebody like me at one point, and they go, I don't know why it stopped working. It was working fine. I was getting out good, and all of a sudden it just suddenly stopped working.
Yeah, I'm going to get on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. They're on later. They're out in California. They stay on Channel 11. How they stay on 11, I don't know, because I'm going to tell you what, when the skip is rolling, man, 11, the tracks, it's rough, you know. And so they get on there and have guys call in, and they tell them what kind of radios they're talking on, and then Dennis has got pictures of them from the Old Tube Radio Network archive, I reckon is what they call it, and he'll post it up there for you to look at, and they got some pretty unique ones there. Some of them I had never seen until I started watching them, and so I'm going to do that later on this evening, and he just checked in there, and so anyway, hello Dennis, Old Tube Radio Network, that's the main man over there, and I'm back out.
Well, you know, I always wondered why some of the locals around here wanted to talk local on 28. You know, back when we were at the higher portion of the sunspot cycle and you had to deal with all that skip coming out of Arizona and California.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they don't have anybody to the back of them that's on 11, but around here it's, you know, up around New York and all Great Lakes and everything, it's got that thing sewed up, man.
Oh, yeah, shoot, it gives me problems when I'm trying to talk to Sandbagger and them on Channel 13 during the summer months, you know, when they got when they got classic radio roundup going. I have trouble, you know, with 11 just bleeding over from 2 channels away.
10-4. That's the tracks there. I don't think they call it the Mini Bowl, or no, the Rose Bowl. I think that's the Rose Bowl.
You see that amp? I think it's still on the eBay. It's down there in like Louisiana with what is it? It's got 8 3-500Zs in it, but it's actually got holes cut for 12.
Yeah, I saw that. They don't show a power supply, or does it?
It's got a big box down below it on the bottom side. It looks like a 2-piecer, but I mean it's huge. It looks like a DNA Phantom about. You know, it's shaped like a DNA Phantom, but it's probably 5 times bigger, and then it's got a box under it, which I'm assuming where the transformer is. I think it said it was a 3,000 volt at 6 amp transformer for that thing.
Seemed like I saw something about that. Well, you know what? That's a waste of money because, you know, one of those tubes could pull the rest of them down, and, you know, they're hard. You can test them, but you can't really test them, and, you know, I saw that big old blower thing on the back, and it looked like something out of an oil furnace, you know. I don't know, that thing would be like an airplane landed inside your radio when that thing's turned on, and you got all those 12 3-500Zs there. You'd be better off you know, if you want to run something like that, they get a, you know, like that 3CX3000. But it would be good for someone that you could bring in that didn't know any better to bring them in your radio room. Say, look what I've got, and you know, you'd have like a wheelbarrow there just in case for their chin to rot on the floor. You could put it in the wheelbarrow and roll it around in your room, and it's a great God, man. You got 12 of them in there, you know.
Well, two 3-500s, these are definitely cost effective, and I can even see 3 and maybe even 4, but after that, you know, by the time you get 4, you're better off doing, you know, if you want to go above that, maybe 2 3CX 1500 A7s, and if you want to go to above that, you know, then maybe the 3CX 3000 A7. Although really the 3CX 3000 A7, you know, that tube's even cheaper than the 3CX 1500, because the 3CX 1500s, the IMAX, are what, $1,200, $1,300. You can get the 3CX 3000 A7 for like $800.
Well, you can get a rebuild.
Yeah, or do what Alpha did, you know, with the 8410. Originally the Alpha had two 4CX 1000As, and then the latest version has two 4CX 1500As. I mean, that makes more sense than a gazillion 3-500Zs.
Yeah, I was sure in hopes, you know, I wasn't going to be like some of those other people that didn't win that lottery and they killed themselves, you know, because they had everything already lined up that they wanted, and, you know, some of them committed suicide because they didn't win. I was hoping that you had won. When I found out it was somebody in South Carolina, man, I was just jumping up and down. I said, I bet that's Night Ranger, because I knew good and well with all that money, you'd say, you know, 21, I'm going to go in and buy you that amp there that you've been wanting, and you'd have done it.
No, they just bought you a bunch of land and then have Duga 3 moved out of Chernobyl and built in your new backyard.
Yeah.
That big football-sized collinear array, Duga 3. And then when the FCC comes to talk to you about that gargantuan antenna, you go, that's not a CB antenna, that's my private over-the-horizon radar.
Yeah, and turn the woodpecker back on.
I remember hearing that woodpecker on HF, and occasionally you'd hear it on the CB band, but most of the time it was on, you know, 7 megahertz and 14 megahertz and 18 megahertz. But I remember that thing. It would come in there for a couple of seconds and then it'd jump somewhere else.
Right.
Hey, 21.
Yes, sir.
The Roosevelt was 26.
Oh, okay. That's right. And 11 is the tracks.
Yeah, that's right. But nobody talks on 26 anymore. So it's just, if they can't handle the heat on the Super Bowl, it's the railroad tracks.
Why don't they talk on 26?
I think it's too close to a lot of sidebanding going on up there.
Oh, okay. Every once in a while I'll hear what's his name down there in St. Kitts, the man with the long white robe there, shoot, what's his handle, not Fifth, it's the, you know what I'm talking about?
You remember that guy on the islands? He may still be there, the one that's on 26 that would always keys up and he'd go, Bobby, 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 Bobby.
I've heard it, but I don't remember who he is.
He's been in there for years on 26. He's down there in the Caribbean somewhere.
1201, that's the one I'm thinking about. 1201, the man with the rusty radio. Yeah, he'll get on 26 and a lot of times they're on 12, and but he said the man with the long white robes. They got all kind of stuff there. One I was sorry to hear that died was Jack in the Water, and he died and drowned in the water.
But the other one was, it was a regular on 38 lower sideband, was Joe, the Golden Voice of Louisiana. He was in, every summer you'd hear him on 38 lower sideband. Apparently he passed away, a very friendly guy.
Right.
21, I think 1201, isn't he talking out of Antigua?
St. Kitts.
St. Kitts, okay.
Yeah, I asked him a couple times, and I I didn't know I knew I'd heard about it. I'm not best on world geography. So I looked it up and saw where it was at, and I maybe heard about maybe 10 times, before he started talking about it. And but yeah, he's right in that area.
Yeah, Tim, right. Who you don't hear a lot from is like Barbados, pretty popular. A lot of the radios down there is in Bermuda. They got a pretty tight-knit group down there.
Yeah, wonder what channel they stay on.
Well, Trinidad's in here a lot, and I know on sideband you hear Trinidad and Grenada a lot. What is it, Witch Doctor? Is he one in Grenada? One of them's in Trinidad, and there's another guy down there in St. LaCroix, I think it is. He's in there a lot, or LaCroix, something like that.
They'll take turns not trying to kill each other, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, with one Mean Pill or 766 or whatever down there. I don't know how they even talk down there.
Yeah, one pill. Well, they done work something out. One pill and cool water. They're probably about the strongest two down there right now. And they take turns. You hear one pill say, I gotta go to Big Mama's house, and he gets off, and then cool one, I take off on it. And they take turns.
Yeah.
Well, here you got 1, 2, 3, and what is it, Boss Man?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then used to be let's see, Dr. George Bush. Now he's Dr. John Kennedy, and a big man in Barbados there.
There's an SDR, a programmable SDR receiver that streams over the internet down in San Paulo, and you can hit it over the internet and put in what frequency you want or even what mode and listen. And I pulled that up, and I was actually listening to me coming into San Paulo, Brazil on this frequency.
Yeah, Roger. Got somebody way out there. Where are you? I heard you coming in there. Come on. I hear you. Yeah, was that you a while ago? Yeah, this is 21 there. Where are you at? Is that Lazy Bones? All right, Lazy Bones. Yeah, we doing that old radio night. I sure am glad you stopped by there. Yeah, we not too far from the Charleston there, Roger. Yeah, Roger. All right, then, Lazy Bones Jr., let me stand by and let them other fellas see if they can put a spoken broke on you there. And we'll be standing by. It's 21. I'll be back out. Hello, Swamp Fox. I got you in there. I got you in there, Swamp Fox. No doubt about it. There, come on. Yeah, Roger, this Swamp Fox. Yeah, I got you in there. Conditions are kind of good tonight there. It's not as good as it was last weekend, but it should clear up just a little bit there before too long there. All right, this Swamp Fox, and hey, you up around there, I know you're going to get mad at me there. I keep getting you mixed up with Fairfield or Fairfax here. Come on. All right, have a good one, Swamp Fox.
357.
What's up there, 357?
Ain't nothing too much, man. I got my antenna fixed out, so you should be seeing the signal from now.
Oh, yeah, you sounded real good there. Come on.
Yeah, who you just talking to?
That was Swamp Fox up there in Fairfield or Fairfax, South Carolina, and the other one was Lazy Bones Jr. down there in Beaufort County.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have a copy of any of them two. Are you on the vertical or the flat?
Vertical.
I didn't have a copy of either one of them two guys.
Yeah, Roger.
What kind of light?
Say again, sir?
Any light, are you?
Are they? Yeah, they're, what I do, see, what people can't understand is I give these people, what I call a remote preamp there. They don't have to buy a preamp to receive, to hear me. I loan them one when I'm talking to them there, come on.
Yeah, no, what I meant was, how was their signal back to you?
Oh, in there with the noise level.
Roger, okay. I might not have enough height. I'm only up about 24 feet right now.
Yeah, you need to get on up there now. You need to get up about 80 more feet.
80 more feet? No, I ain't going that high, man.
Okay.
Maybe I might get up to the base, maybe 45.
Yeah, Roger. Well, it sure sounded good and crystal clear there, come on.
You scared of height.
Who else is out there tonight?
Yeah, let me stand by. You got you're a #1 compadre out there, that crazy man.
Oh, Lord.
What do you mean, oh Lord? You crazy? Let's get talked to him.
Hello, crazy man.
Oh, Nancy, how you doing?
Doing good, crazy man. How you doing? Hello, Joe.
By the cold weather and all that, I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
I can't complain, man. Over here with the family, just kind of hanging out. Just got done putting up some curtains for my daughter.
Well, I figure you'll be at the fair.
Again?
I say, I figure you'll be at the fair by now.
At the fair?
Yeah, fair.
The crazy man.
Yeah, go ahead.
He ain't gonna go now. They pulled the camel ride.
You might be right there. If you can't get on the camel, you might get buckled off, or the camel grab by his ankles and bite his foot off.
Yeah, that camel was biting people. They had to pull and made him get out of town.
But traffic is too much hassle at the fair.
Yeah, you park out there in that field, you might come back with a cinder block laying in your front seat. You never know.
I don't mess around at the fair, man. It's too much traffic, too much hassle, too much waiting around. I don't get down with that.
Me neither, because last time I went to that fair, I put him out. He grabbed a hold of me by my shoulder and swung me around. When he did, he got something he didn't expect. And people don't care. They grab a hold of you and try to get you coming over there to your stand and want you to play some of them games. I can't see if he sees me again. He can try that little trick.
Did he give you one of them little Cupid dolls?
Knew he had a bad headache besides a black eye.
I don't really even care for the food at the fair no more.
Oh, it sounds like Skip trying to come in. Happy you guys get that antenna up about at least about 80 and 90 feet.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But I'll get it back up where I had it before at about 45 feet. 45 feet is half wavelength at 11 meters. You'll do real good right there.
Oh, yeah, I figure you wouldn't scared the height.
Well, it's not that, man. If I can't get it, I can't get it. I don't have a tower over here, so all I got is a push-up pole.
I got to push up over it, too, up in the tree. Got to hold the tree up.
Yeah, I don't have a tree. I got some trees over here, but I'm not going to have nobody climb, so it'll be all right where it's at, 45 feet. It'll be good.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fine as long as you know. But
if I can't make up in height, I'll put some wattage behind it.
Hey, I got to run inside before I go so I can get you on tape here. Hey, give us that Prime Minister sound.
There you go.
Yeah, but you got to talk like him.
No, I don't talk like Prime. You have me mistaken.
Oh, no, one time you and that 123 y'all was out there with that dinosaur screaming, whatever, Godzilla screaming, and about 15 relays clicking in and all that.
No, that wasn't me. That might have been somebody else, but that wasn't me, though. That's Prime Minister. I don't even sound like him, man.
Well, you laugh like him.
Maybe.
Yeah, Roger.
All right, man, I'll catch you later. 7-3 for now.
Come on, is that not, man?
Yeah, man. How you doing this evening?
Oh, doing great there. You've made all the money, the donuts you're gonna make today.
I didn't make none today. I spent a few, though.
I hear you. Well, you sounding good. I'm gonna run inside and get me something to drink there and get a little hoarse there. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, folks.
Hello there, Nut Man, the crazy man waving in at you. Oh, he can't hear me neither. Oh, well.
Yeah, crazy man. There's somebody else keying up with you. How you doing this evening?
Well, so far, good Lord willing, the creek's on rise. I'm doing fine. What about you?
Sure is cooling all the time. That's the show. I'm glad to see you.
I'm on. All right. We first got up to 73 today. Didn't quite make it. Didn't get up to 60.
Yeah, I enjoyed that coolness. I thought normally you're going to get a little bit of rain there the way the clouds are looking, but yeah, look at that dang satellite and the radar. Just overcast, but
Yeah, 14. I thought I got to get it over here this afternoon, too. That big cloud came over the top of us and got good dark over here. I'm like, oh, we could get some rain, cold rain. That fooled me, too. It rained somewhere. It didn't rain over here, though.
yeah, I had a couple fellas talking at the same time there, Robert. Didn't get a piece of that.
All right, that night, man, you have a family great one out there. I hope you have a better day tomorrow than you did today. They call me 116 way back out.
I wonder if Mark up there in Charlotte is watching any of the video gates, either of mine or 21. I'll look in the chat, see if he speaks up.
Yeah, you have 21 went in and give him something to drink.
I'm good and watered up. I just came back from Arby's and had that tea up there.
Oh, Lord, drinking that old nasty tea, eh?
Well, I like sweet tea.
Too much sugar, I couldn't deal with that.
And I tell you what, sometimes Taco Bell really loads of sugar up there on their sweet tea. You go in there, it's like sucking on a sugar cube.
You got that right, most of them are like that. Same with the coffee. I think they put the whole bag in the coffee pot.
The Burger King up here, their tea's so bad I gave up on them. You go in there sometimes, it's so strong, it's like you're sucking on a tea leaf.
You never can tell. They might have had it sitting up so many days.
It's probably some powder or something, but they sure don't know how to make tea at the Burger King here where I am. It's awful. I gave up. I just go and get diet drink now.
Most of them I used to go in Burger King over there, College Park in 78. That doggone Mexican lady didn't what I say. And when I did get somebody to order me a hamburger and french fries, I didn't get french fries. I don't know what the hell you call it. I said, what's that? That's what you ordered, didn't you? Mustn't know that damn potato thing. They look awful. Mustn't get all that. You keep the hamburger. I don't know what you got in it. You might drop it on the floor and wipe up some doggone stuff on the floor and put it between the plates. Nope. Y'all can have that. My gone.
I'll tell you what, that Burger King in Somerville, too, they can't make a good chocolate shake worth anything. I went in there one time. That was the most concentrated chocolate I think I'd ever had. It about burned your throat. It was so strong.
And most of them, they got these damn Mexicans working in there. They're cooking it like they want it. They ain't cooking it your way.
I was like somebody just getting a mouthful of cocoa powder.
You know you're right. 15-4, what are you doing over there?
Oh, we just reading the mail, watching the tube.
I'm watching an old Army show about war back in the Western days. I got low enough and nobody can't pick it up.
That's right.
told me my TV is messed up, it ain't no good anymore, you need to throw it in the trash. I'm sitting here watching a beautiful picture on it. That better got to watch that small TV she got over there. Good God, you couldn't see doggone half, couldn't see what the people looks like. I couldn't deal with that. I got to sit right up close to it to see it. My 48 there over here, flat screen, working fine.
You say 48?
Yeah, 48-inch picture screen.
Yeah, I think that's big enough.
Yeah, that's big. The other one's might be a 12 by 15 long.
Yeah, that's a big difference there.
I can't watch no TV that far away from me. I'm way over here by the TV, and the TV over there goes to the bedroom. I'm 15 to 20 feet away from the TV. I can't get up on top of the TV because I will get burned.
It's not too good to get too close to them anyway. That's not good for your eyes.
Oh, you got one bad eye, that's the right side. I can put my hand over my left eye, I can't see nothing there. I take my hand down, my there ain't no there.
Hey, you better protect that good one then. Don't get too close to them, because that light, that's especially if you're watching, like a hour and a half movie or a 2-hour movie, that light is not too good for your eyes when you're that close.
You got that right. I need cataract, take them cataracts out of my right eye. If they can't have it that way, you gotta have both of them be down, that'll give you crazy shit too. Excuse me saying that word. That doctor got me on all kind of pills over here. What is that? Who that? Who that? Who? Who that? Who? Who the you? I don't know who they at. Who?
Did you make it back, 21?
No.
Apparently not.
Someone was in here, I couldn't figure who it was. Might be somebody I didn't know.
I hadn't heard 1940 in a while.
I think he sat back and listened to it on the radio and don't feel like talking.
Well, hopefully he's doing okay.
Yeah, 14. I hope he is anyway. 1940, I hope he's doing all right out there now. Not much. He's a popsicle right now.
Raji, yeah, I just got up, man. Run a little late. Oh well.
Yeah, he burned that late. It's still going. Only one in the house gets up to drink.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm glad I made it out here in time to say hello to everybody.
Yeah, 14, that 19. Yeah, 1940's out there. The night range is out there.
Oh, 10-4. Well, 1940 and Night Ranger, I ain't heard him in a while.
Hey, what's going on?
Ain't nothing, man. Just a bunch of work. A bunch of work lately there.
Yeah, I got to be Mighty Mouse and Save the Day this week. I was on call this week, and some other company blew up stuff, and I had to go reroute a bunch of things over the internet.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, that's what keeps it going, man. The others, I love the others, but they produce plenty of work for us, too.
It wasn't hard. What I had to do was actually pretty easy, but, you know, it rerouted the traffic for some major, I don't want to go into much detail because my employer didn't like me really say who I worked for, but it rerouted some major traffic across multiple countries.
10-4, Roger that.
Good evening to you, 45.
Oh, hello, 15-4. How you been doing, man?
Pretty good. Ain't no doubt about it. We're doing pretty good, man.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I haven't been on here lately, catching up with anybody, so I wasn't sure how everybody was doing there. I'm glad to hear you're okay.
That's damn right, 45. Good to have you back out there again. Matter of fact, I don't think we talked to you since you got back off your vacation.
Well, gee, yeah, it's been real busy. The company's been real busy, man. I've been struggling trying to keep caught up, you know, so I hadn't felt like coming on the radio much too often, but anyway.
That's damn right. Well, your station sounds good, ain't no doubt about it. Doing your thing around North Charleston as always. 45, you know who it is. I'm back on the mail.
Yeah, Raji. Yeah, y'all sounding good too. It's a good old clear night. Everybody's coming in here real good. I gotta find me another key switch, man. I'm on my spare key switch I used for the Yaesu. Something happened to my other, I don't know. Well, the problem is I got all these microphones, and 3 of them I use for key switch. Well, at least maybe I'm missing one. I don't even use the audio cable. It's just these Cobra mics that people throw out. I keep them for the key switches, and goodness gracious, I don't know what happened. I guess it's on the fritz, man. I tried all 3. I was like, something's wrong. Tracked it down to that mic, so I put the other one on there. The other switch, it seems to be working, so it wasn't the mic after all.
Well, that one right there sounds pretty good. We don't have no noise or anything when you key down.
Raji? Yeah, it's a new, it's not new, but yeah, I've never had this one on here before, the control box. I did have the mic on here a couple weeks ago, but that I'm using now, but the controller, I don't think I ever hooked it up on this particular on our radio night before. I might have it last year sometime. It might be the one I was using last year, but different microphone.
That's right. Sounding good, though. Good tone and everything.
Roger. Well, I'll go back and listen to it later. Hopefully it's okay. But, yeah, I gotta find me, it's inconvenient every time when I switch over, because you know I like to do a lot of HF. Yeah, switch over, man. I gotta unplug the mic, plug it into the other one. I don't know. I gotta dig in the box over there and find another Galaxy wired microphone I could hook up to this thing, because that's how I got it built, to accept Cobra and Galaxy key switching.
Waving a hand there, 45. It's 21. We back out.
10-21. Yeah, man. Good to hear you too. I've been around on 12 here and there in the daytime and stuff, but I haven't really heard anybody. I've been in and out so much, trying to go like a Chinese bullet train from job to job. Over.
I hear you. Well, you don't work too hard, man. Take it easy a little bit, and I will be copying that mail. Something real good. You'll hear it. Hey, something real good. I'm back out.
Raji, okay, I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna back off the mic here and for a minute and dig around over here in this box, see if I can find one of these mics or what happened. I had them labeled, but the doggone labels fell off of them. So now I gotta play Russian roulette radios till I find out which one's which what. Good. One of them's ICOM, one of them's well, Cobra mics. They all look the same, and the dang stickers came off of them I had on them.
Hey, 410. Not quiet enough to hear North Carolina tonight on 14. I slipped over there. I didn't hear them unless they've already shut up by now. Lazy Bones was in there a while ago. Did you hear him there, 15-4?
Negative.
Roger. The noise levels come back up on my radio a little bit from what it was earlier. I need to get me a receive preamp. I've been giving everybody else. I'm running out. I got to get hook back up one for me.
You're running a short supply. You're putting too many of them out there for everybody else to use there, right?
Yeah, a classic case of the shoemaker's children there, Roger.
Damn right, you're running around shoeless.
Yeah, put a PT2 helps that Cobra Cam 88.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I got one over here somewhere. A couple of them. I got to get it hooked up. Yeah, it's just like all my daddy told me, it's better to give than receive, you know? I don't know, I thought that was funny, but anyway. Crazy man, you're not laughing over there. Oh, you done froze up over there. Went inside and got the last slice of blueberry pie. Man, that stuff is good.
Oh, blueberry pie, we have blackberry pie.
Yeah. Blueberry pie is better for me. The blackberry pie is alright, but it's got seeds in it or whatever, you know? I wish I could get one of those, I don't know what you call that thing. 15-4 could probably tell us. It's an old, like a blueberry thing, and the tree is really nasty. If you have it in your yard, it'll put blue stains all over your car, and elderberry tree is some kind of thing. I don't know what it is. I know there's one of them down at the beginning of the interstate, right after the crosstown. There's a tree down there. I know. I've been thinking about trying to get a cutting off of it, and there was another one over by, used to be St. Francis Hospital over in that area by that soda station. They kept cutting it down, but I love those things. Those are, my mother used to make them in a pie.
Yeah, well, I've heard of elderberries and mulberries.
Mulberry? I don't know. Might be mulberry.
I have 3, maybe 4 mulberry trees in the backyard.
Okay, do they get a stain up the yard with all kind of, when they start coming down?
No, but the squirrels, it looks like, I mean, it looks like little blackberries. They're red and purple, I think. Maybe they're red, all red, but the squirrels are all over them. They love them. I tasted one of them. It was pretty good.
Well, I tell you what really was great this year, which I didn't know about it until it was too late, was the, oh shoot, they're real bitter if you don't get them at the right. They look like little tiny pumpkins there, and boy, they're good. They say possums like to eat them. They're real bitter though, if you get them when they're not all the way done. But those really had a lot of them on the trees this year. It's kind of a weed tree, you know. real weak, the limbs break when they get all those berries on it. I'm surprised. Excuse me, I can't remember the name of it.
I started to say persimmon, but persimmon wood's, I think, pretty hard. I've got two persimmon trees in the yard, and yeah, man, you go out there, there'll be foxes out in the yard and deer and stuff eating those persimmons off the ground.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's pretty hard wood, though, a persimmon tree.
Yeah, mine always breaks off when they get loaded down. You know, they'll break off and the limbs will break and stuff like that. There was a big old limb came down this year, I guess from the storm or whatever, and it still had those on there. Then finally they fell off, and I just didn't have time to go get them. I did eat some of them. It's got 2 seeds in every one of them, and you got to watch them. You got to get them when they're just right. You kind of squeeze them a little bit when you try to get them off the tree. If they won't pull off or almost fall off in your hand, don't mess with them.
Oh shoot, I've been into one of those things. My parents had one in the backyard when I was a kid, and I've been into one of those things when it was green. My lips about rolled inside out trying to get away from that.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what are those things called that on palmetto trees? That those like plums? They real good too. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, they got those Japanese plums, you know, that looks those yellow ones there. That I can't get them anymore. I had a tree of them on James Island. I know what you're talking about on the palmetto tree, but I didn't know you could eat them. I never did eat them.
Yeah, they good. But what I hear about them, you gotta have 2 trees. They won't bear with just one tree. You gotta be 2 trees.
Oh, okay. And both of them have them on, or if you got 2, or just one will have it on it, and one won't, or...
Both of them are bare. Both of them are bare. And, you know, they'll fall down the ground when they get ripe. When they get too ripe, they'll fall down the ground. You want to get them while they're still on the tree. But they're still good off of the ground if you get them, you know, before they spoil.
Simple.
What we've got around here, I've got like I said, 2 persimmon trees, 3, maybe 4 mulberry trees. There's a walnut tree back in the woods, and then there's something else called a pig nut tree. I had to go look it up. I didn't know what they were, but there's another tree back there called a pig nut.
It's kind of a round, hard thing with a point on the end, a little bit of a point.
I mean, it looks like a pig nut. I mean, that's what the nut looks like.
Right. We had some pear trees. It was my mother said it was a combination of a pear and an apple. Boy, those were good. We had those old Kiefer pears too. I didn't like them. Those old cooking pears, you know, I'd eat them anyway. Boy, you could hit somebody in the head with one of them and knock them out, you know. But you could eat them. But those that we had up there in Jedburgh at one tree was, she said, combination apple and pear combination. I don't know. But boy, they were good.
Back when I was a kid and we had that persimmon tree, we used to get in fights with the persimmons. You know, if they're green, you could put a welt on somebody. You smack somebody with a green persimmon, and then of course, if you picked one when you're ripe, it was like a splatter fest when you hit someone. Then we had the crabapple trees. We always threw those at each other.
Yeah, we had the China berries. We put them in slingshots, and it's a wonder we didn't get our eye knocked out. When those China berries get ripe, boy, do they stink. God.
I don't know which one that is right off. I'd have to go look it up.
Don't eat them.
China berries, we used to use them for slingshots too. That reminds me when something is being used, you know, it's available, it keeps growing. When nobody uses them, they go away. China berries are not trees, they're not too plentiful anymore. They used to be real plentiful because they had people like me in 21 out there picking them while they were green. They use them as slingshots there, right?
Yeah, and we was reseeding them.
Hey, that's what it was. I remember every house had one trying to barricade him and had to cut it down, but they were in the yard. Now, very seldom do you see those things. You got to go looking for them.
Yeah. Another tree there that you don't see anymore is a catawba tree. Used to get those fishing worms off, not worms, but caterpillars, catawba worms there, call them worms, but the caterpillars, and they used to call them, my brothers call them Indian cigar trees, and it hang down. There was one down on Dayton Street, down off of Reynolds Avenue, where I used to live when I was little, and there was a yard that had those things, and they'd hang down big old long seed pods, you know, and that's what they were. But every once in a while, you know, you see a smaller one in those big old caterpillars, but I haven't seen any of them in years either.
I got a tree out here in the yard that's got big long seed pod. I'm looking at the picture of the cigar tree. That's not quite it, but whatever this tree is out in my yard, it's got big long seed pods on it, but I don't know what it is.
Well, did you look up the cigar tree?
Yeah, it's not a cigar tree. The seeds I have, I think they're flat. They look like a great big long string bean, but you know, but they're longer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do they turn colors? They got different colors?
I think they're just green and then they turn brown.
Okay.
You know those vines? You ever seen those ones that have the seed pods out in the woods? They're vines and they grow up in the trees, and then when it gets real cold, they explode and throw the vines and throw the seeds everywhere. You hear them popping, and I mean those seeds will go flying out through the trees. You hear them like.
You must be talking about like, yeah, is that the one that's got purple flowers and stuff? Purple, like, grape-looking things?
It might. I never really noticed what it looked like in the rest of the year. I just know it's when it gets real bitter cold outside, those seed pods will throw open, and I mean, they will fling those trees. It sounds like a rock going through the trees.
Okay.
They just explode, and I mean, it's got to be like bitter cold for it to do it. And those things build up a bunch of tension, and they pop, and man, those seeds go, you hear them shooting out through the tree leaves. But it's a vine that climbs up the tree that does that.
Yeah, I got to start reading a little bit more. I'm getting where I can't remember what anything is anymore. I know what a CB radio is. I know that, so I need to start going back to the books again. Get back on that. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I just can't name the thing.
I've been trying to get some muscadine vines growing out here. I bought some muscadines in the grocery store a few years ago, and then took all the seeds and planted them all around. And I've got some vines coming up. They're about 2 or 3 years old, but they haven't had any fruit on them yet.
Yeah, sometimes they'll fool you. They'll bear 1 year, and 1 year they won't. You know, I don't know, but. Yeah, I got some of them and mixed in with some of those scooping there, bull grapes, you know. Well, they'll make you go to the bathroom.
I do that with every time I get grapes. I make sure they're seeded, you know, or if they get muscadines at the end of the summer, and then I always take the seeds. Since I got all these woods around here, I'm like, I might as well put it to work, put them to use, you know. So I get the seeds and put them in a cup, and then I just take a stroll around the edges of the yard where all the woods are and stick them all in the ground, you know, and some of them come up.
Right.
Hey, does anybody make a wine out of that those scooping?
My neighbor did. He made some one time, and it had a terrible smell to it, almost like vinegar, but it tasted pretty good. He just didn't make it right, but it made it like make it in a jail, you know. Of course, I wouldn't know anything about that, but they call it something else there and there. I don't know, but yeah, he made some out of that.
But nobody manufactures, you know, like a professional winery or something that uses those grapes to make wine.
Yeah, down on Wadmore Island, they got one down there. That's what they do down there. That's the place that makes what's that stuff? Vodka, not mosquito, but fly something. Vodka, and they have the muscadine. Scoponon and orchard down there, vines and all. You can take tours down there along Long Island.
Okay, you don't know what the wine is called, though?
I don't know exactly the name of it. I'm trying to think of the name of that place down there. Shoot, I don't remember. But trying to think of the name of that vodka that they make down there too. I can't remember what it is. Seemed like something fly, but I know that isn't right.
I was just thinking, you know, those scoping on, they got a kind of unique taste. It's a good taste, but it's a unique taste. I just thought that would make a good wine.
Oh yeah, man, it's good. Some of those people, they take and get some Everclear, and they get those scooping-ons there, and they put them in a mason jar and fill it up with that Everclear and let it sit for a couple of months, and that's pretty good.
That's right.
I don't drink anymore, but when I used to, you know, I'd try it out.
Oh shoot, I hadn't heard the name Everclear in years, but I remember back as a teenager we used to make, what was it, PJ out with Everclear?
Yeah, man, that stuff's like drinking rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
I used to drink vodka back then, and I was a lot way younger. I was in, you know, and this older guy, you know, he says, yeah, I'll teach him. So he switched it on me, because I just dropped that, you know, thing of vodka and just knock it down. You know, I just like drinking water to me. And he switched to put Everclear on there, man, and he got a big kick out of that whenever I went around when I couldn't breathe, you know.
The worst experience I ever had as far as, you know, drinking, I was very young, 17 years old, was a friend showed up and he had that 2 Fingers tequila. Oh my gosh, I was so sick from that stuff. After that weekend, I didn't ever want to have any more 2 Fingers tequila again. I never have.
What y'all do with Crazy Man, anyway? Here you go, 10-7. He must have laughed himself to death.
Well, fellas, we're going to call it a night. Been a pleasure as always. We can do it again, no doubt about it. Appreciate the bump down and all the talking. We really enjoy this every Saturday night. So we put it on you guys later, no doubt about it. You know who it is? I'm clear to go.
All right, 15-4, always good, man. Always a pleasure, man. You always coming in there good, and appreciate it, and have a good rest of the weekend. I'm 21 back out. I read you here, 15-4.
Yeah, 15-4. Sorry, I was looking at something on the internet. Have a good night. Enjoyed talking to you as always. I keep looking at these nice looking amps coming up on the internet, and they're always, you know, the console ones are too far away. You know, by the time I rent a van and drive that far, the price goes through the roof. Looking at a very nice Collins 30 S1, but it's in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah, every time I see one on there I like, same situation, the doggone thing must pick up in person, will not ship, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a Henry that I want bad that's out in Reno, Nevada. I was like,
Alright, well hey man, I found this Rat Shack microphone. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but it's key enough. I don't hear no noise with the switch.
I don't hear any.
And I guess you guys figured out that the audio's not running through that mic. It's just the switch I'm using. But okay, I appreciate that. At least I got one. I got to figure out I guess a wire came loose or something in that Cobra mic. I don't know. I have to check it out, I guess.
Roger.
Yeah, some of this stuff's kind of funny. 21, when you start running your these cables through other devices, it's like there might not even be anything wrong with it. It might work on the other harness dongle that I have, but not on this one unless I was to run an audio out, a silent audio, not an audio, but a silent transmit. Or maybe it's even the ground. I don't know. I got to look into this and run it through. I remember something about I had on one of these, and maybe that's the problem. On one of these controllers last year, I had to run a patch cord from one jack to another in order for it to initiate, for some reason, the audio. But I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Jeff, we'll be right back.
Night Ranger, tell 21 I said goodbye, and Crazy Man, everybody else out there, have a good one. You too, Night Ranger. I'm going to go and give this thing a bath. It's got spider webs all over it, but hey, it's good for something. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later on, man, down the road, no doubt about that. We have 45 grand on this creek, sitting on back.
All right, that 45, catch you later. We appreciate you coming out there. We catch you through the next weekend, nothing happens. They call me 116. We back out.
All right, 45. Have a good night. Thanks for coming in on Old Radio Night. Night Ranger listening.
Roger. Catch y'all later.
I wish I could fit my this Collins 30S1 in my Toyota Corolla without screwing it up. Looking at it on eBay, it's too big. I might be able to get it in the back seat, but I'm afraid I'd scar it up or damage it trying to turn it sideways and get it in there.
I tell you what's impressive is whenever you get everything that Collins had at the time and have it all lined up. I got a picture of somebody stationed with that, man.
Well, you know, I sent you a picture when I got my Drake R4B and T4XB twins out with the L4B. You know how pretty that is when that's all lined up.
Oh, yeah. Wonder how they did at the Conway Ham Fest.
I don't know. I thought about going, but my pager, I started getting text messages from, they were doing some work on one of the network operations center out west. And it kept setting my text message thing off. And since I'm on call this week, if a problem came up, I needed to be ready. And I said, well, I guess with this thing going off left and right while they're doing these upgrades, I guess I can't be in Conway, because if they page me, I won't have a computer to get to.
Yeah, I had to do some other stuff. I made a real good deal today on some fenders for the trailer I'm working on, a utility trailer. The fenders on it had a Jeep-style fenders. I never did like them whenever I got the trailer, but it was okay. But after they got bent here and there, and somebody banged into one time, and different things, they just never did look. I just didn't like them anyway. And so after I've been redoing it, I had to cut them off. They were welded onto there, and about 5 tack welds inside. I had to take the wheel off, get in with a grinder, grind the weld down, get it off. And I had to do it because it was trying to rust under there. So I got all that nice and cleaned up and primed with Rust-Oleum paint and spray painted. And went to Westbury today and found 2 round type diamond plate black heavy trailer fenders for $38 a piece. I was looking online, and boy, they're about something like about $75 a piece or $80 a piece plus $30 a piece for shipping. So that's a great day. They only had 2. That's all I needed, and I grabbed them and took off. They got a lot of stuff over there people don't know they got over there. It's they got just about anything you could possibly think of over there, and I try to go there as much as I can to help them out. You know, they're Lowe's and Home Depot and all like that has put a hurting on them, but they're kind of away from it a little bit, so they get a lot of local traffic.
Radical AM's on the chat room and he says he wants to hear us do another Browning night some night.
Okay.
So if we can arrange it, you get your Browning or whichever you want to get. I'll get my Mark III out and we'll do Browning to Browning.
Okay. I think I'm having an issue with Browning Mark III. I don't know. Last time I tried running it, it was I think one of those capacitors was going out in it. So I might run the Mark IV. I don't know. I got some more Mark IIIs that I'm gonna try and see. I can't remember if it's the receiver or the transmitter. It might have been operator error, but I'll try it first, and we can do that next time.
Mine's got two issues. One of them is the on-off switch needs to be replaced, and I have a new on-off switch for it. I just haven't stuck it in. I can't remember if it's in the transmitter or the receiver. I had to hardwire it in the on position, and then I used a power strip to turn it on and off. But I have a replacement switch. I just didn't stick it in. And the other thing is when I first turned it on, it only did keys like a watt, and then after it sits there about 5 minutes, it goes back to 4 watts. And I've wiggled that tube around and replaced that tube in that general area. I forgot which tube it is, and that doesn't quite do it. And so I got to figure out what's causing that. But anyway, after about 5 minutes, it comes up to full power. But every time I first turn it on, it sits there and only dead keys a watt. And then finally, after 5 minutes, all of a sudden it jumps back to 4 watts.
Right.
Well, if you did the Mark IV and I did the Mark III, that would give us a variety of Browning night. You know, we'd have both the major ones covered, unless somebody else has got, what was it, an R23 or whatever that other one is.
Yeah, or a Mark II. I've got that R2700 and the S9. I've got it, but they don't work. Believe it or not, I found them laying out beside the road downtown near the Roper Hospital one time, and that they need capacitors put in there, but I got them setting up. I hadn't really ever messed with them.
I only heard one Browning Mark III back in the day in my hometown. A guy named Red Barron had one. And that was the only one I heard in my hometown. And then 1-2 years later, when I got nostalgic, I got one. And then Troubleshooter, he got one. But back in the 70s, I was just that one guy, you know, because they were so expensive. And then there was a lady up around Concord, North Carolina, somewhere up there, Lady Harrisburg or something like that. She had one. And it seemed like there was a guy in Charlotte that had one.
Yeah, there was a exterminating company over on Highway 61 near Playground Road over there, and they were Browders Exterminating, I believe, and they ran the business band Brownings over there, you know, and they would also get on there. This is like 1959, 1960. 2, 3, 5, up to that era there, and they would get on regular channels, but yeah, they ran Brownings, and there used to be a guy called not Fireball, anyway, he had one, and he was always getting caught by FCC out of Savannah running power, talking skip, and his last name was Funderburk. Ross Funderburk, I'm pretty sure was his name, but I can't remember what it's. T-Bird, that was his handle, T-Bird, and he had one of those one of those select calls like on a Johnson or whatever. You turn it on, go do, he'd do that, you know, whenever he'd get ready to talk on the radio, and they were getting on him about that, you know.
Yeah, we did have some tram D201s and maybe D201As back in Rock Hill, South Carolina when I was growing up. I remember the first time I ever heard somebody run split. It was these two ladies talking, and they both had either tram D201 or D201As. And I remember one of them got on channel 1 and the other one got on like channel 23, and they were running split just because they could. and I was sitting there spinning the channel selector back and forth, you know, to catch both sides of the conversation on my little 23 channel Midland.
Right.
And it seems like there was a guy with a tram Titan. I don't remember if it was the Titan or Titan 2, but there was his handle was Needle Bender. I don't remember the handles of those two women, but I do remember doing that. That was like 1977, I think, when I heard those two ladies do split.
Yeah, boy. Well, I tell you what, I don't know why they went from the Titan 2 to that Titan 4 and all like that. Titan 3, they just look like crap. I mean, in between the Titan 2 and the D201, those trams just they were junky looking. They were cheap looking, and they were made like cheap. I mean, wood, pressed wood, it just was, I don't know. I've got one of them, and I don't like it. It's only got one tube in it, the Titan 4, and but anyway, it's got that big audio tube in it, like the Titan 2. Some Titan 2As, some of them have that bigger audio tube in it, and but not all of them, I think. But they just look like junk until the 201 came out.
That 201 or the 201A, you know, the one that the Roadrunner brought over here that you eventually bought. I put that thing on the desk. I just didn't like it. It was just too big.
Yeah, they're big. I got about 3 of the Vox type, the hand-wired. I can work on them. That other one with all the printed circuit boards that stick in all those pins and all that can corrode, and you know, that's terrible.
I put that thing on the workbench and I was like, man, I want my workbench back.
Well, I can tell you what, that can capacitors aren't any picnic in that radio, because they're buried to get to them, buried. And they got it, well, they just went crazy. They said, well, we've got this extra half-inch of wire that's on the end of this 10-watt resistor. Let's just wrap that damn thing around that eyelet about 5 times and solder it with a blob of solder about the size of a pencil eraser, you know.
Yeah, I was looking at eBay right now. Somebody's got a Tram D201A on there and they want $1,800 for it.
God. It's not on the yellow table, is it?
No, is that Stupid Hawk's table?
Yeah, the yellow table, anytime you see that, that's him.
I figured that was it because there was a joke that somebody, it was in, I think it was CB Radio Show and Tell on Facebook. Somebody asked a question. They said, what was the most expensive CB radio that's ever been made? And somebody sarcastically answered, the one on the yellow table. I figured that had to be Stupid Hawk.
Yeah, there's another one on there, another tram on there. I forgot all, you know, about it. He's talking about it being in good condition. Oh, that's just way too expensive there for anything like that. Crazy.
Here it is, Super Hawk. Oh no, it's got a different name. It's Super Hawk WSS6. Is that the same name he's always had? But anyway, he's got a Tram D201 and he wants $1,125 for it.
Yeah, it's sitting on the yellow table?
Yes.
Okay, that's him. Yeah, it's the biggest and the baddest and the best one, and he's been a dealer for 35 years and all that.
Well, he's probably been trying to be a dealer because, I mean, who would buy... I just find it hard to believe he'd actually ever sell anything at those prices.
I tell you, he's had everything on there for a while. You know, he had that JB2000 on there. He's had a lot of stuff on there like that. It just stays on there, you know, like he had a fake Browning Mark II speaker, you know, that was an accessory for the Mark II. and he had one of them on there, and it was not a real one. It didn't even look right because the eagle was on too far up off center, up towards the top, and it was bigger. He never really said that it was an authentic one, but now he does have an authentic one on there. I forgot he got like 200 or something more, $200 on the thing.
Yeah, he had a nice looking Royce 642, but of course, as always, the price was astronomical. I almost had my hands on a nice Royce 642. There was one at the Rock Hill Ham Fest, and Troubleshooter found it before I did. I walked up and I hadn't met Troubleshooter yet, but I saw this great. Troubleshooter was a great big guy, just big, period. And he had seen it just a few minutes before I walked up to it. He'd walked up. He got that thing for like $75.
Golly.
21.
And then he eBayed it. Go ahead, go crazy man.
I'm going to say good night to y'all. I'll talk to you sometime tomorrow. We enjoyed it and everything. Sit back and listen to y'all talk. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Anyway, sound like y'all having a good time. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go and 10-7. I'll catch you sometime tomorrow.
All right, crazy man, you take it easy and drag another dog up on the bed so you don't get cold tonight there, and I'll be back out.
Talk to you later, crazy man. Have a good night.
I know what you call for night range. You and your squeaky. All right, catch you later, we go.
I was trying to grab my squeaky, and it fell on the floor. Here we go.
Yeah, wait till you do it. That's why they went that. I don't know.
Yeah, squeaky out of a dog toy. After I told Troubleshooter about that, you know, I said something about it. He said, "Oh yeah, that was me." He said he sold it on eBay. He said if I knew about it, you know, if he'd have known I wanted it, you know, he probably would have sold it to me. Troubleshooter was a pretty good guy. And notice I said was. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He had a heart attack, and he's no longer with us. But he was a good friend at Rock Hill.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I tell you what, the one I had, never was anything really done to it. I took it to the best there was, and that chip in it, you couldn't do anything with it. You know, it just wouldn't work, wouldn't it? You couldn't do anything with it at all. But I know one thing, that it was good on sideband. You didn't have to turn the clarifier. You just set that thing on 12 o'clock, and everybody was great. Maybe it was the way it was back then, that people didn't go in there and diddle with everything, but I used to do a lot of sideband talking on that radio, and I loved the 3 big meters, and they had that nice, warm, greenish glow to them, you know?
Oh, that was a beautiful radio. Yeah, and it's got I think it has a MOSFET front end, which was unusual for a radio at that time. But yeah, the radios back then, they were more frequency stable than a lot of them now. You know, these Galaxies, they drift all over the place, and some of the Rangers do. But those Uniden boards and the Cybernet boards, they were stable. Of course, Royce was one of the few companies that actually made their own radios. After you said that, I went researching that, trying to see if that chip could be modified. But yeah, you're right. That chip, you can't get to the programmable divider. It's got a ROM inside the chip in between you and the programmable divider, and the other way they try to get to it, also it blocks it off. So yeah, it's just straight 40 on that one.
Yeah. Now I don't know about the 640. There's an AM version of that radio. I don't know if it's a 640 or not.
Yeah, 642. If I said 640, I meant 642. The 640 was the 23. It looked just like it, but the 640, I think, is the 23 channel version, and I had one of those. Unfortunately, it wasn't very good condition. It came in a whole box of radios for like $50, and then I ended up throwing it away because it was in bad shape and it was way off frequency. I mean, it just wasn't worth keeping. But that was a good $50 investment, because inside that box was a Glenn VFO, and I put that Glenn VFO. I was about to throw that VFO away, and I said, well, somebody might want it. I mean, it worked, but not well. I put that thing on eBay, and I put right in there. I said, it works, but it drifts. And I said, it's got one segment out. That thing went for like $170. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So that was definitely a good $50 box worth of stuff. Had like two Palomar 200 or 300 watt amplifiers, two Palomar gray mobile amplifiers, and one driving 4. One of them was blown, the other one still worked. And a little, I had like 2 radios. It was definitely, well worth $50. It was somebody had died, and it was like family members just put all the stuff in a box and said, "Come get it."
Uniform. Yeah, I got to get on Facebook and ask that Mark Middleman on there what that is. Part 4 to 12. It looks like a pedal out of a transistor box with 2 leads on it. You can adjust it, but they got paint on it. And so, well, you get one out of another radio, but it won't be adjusted for that particular part. It's got to be that exact part. That exact one right there at that particular radio. I don't know exactly. It's some kind of a variable thing. It came apart, and it's like ceramic, and it really doesn't look like it's. This 2 pieces of ceramic material that's stuck together. I don't know. Weird.
Oh shoot! I was looking through Stupid Hawk stuff, and he's got a Wawa C JB2000 Black Cat, and he wants $2,500 for it.
Yeah, the best amp in the world. You get this one, you never need another one, and the big bad amp and all that, yeah. But you look in there, and it's got that piece of wood on the side of the transformer said, "Do not remove."
Yeah.
And that thing is in there. They claimed it was in there for shipping, but it's in there because that thing vibrates so much. That's too small of a transformer to cut down the vibration, because if you don't have that in there, that thing will really start growling.
Colt Excalibur. He just got looks like a flyer, $750. I guess he claims he actually has it. $750 for a Colt Excalibur, $1,900 for a Browning Gold Eagle Mark III.
Yeah, he's got some Demco satellites on there, like for $1,500.
Does the guy actually sell anything?
Then he's got a Golden Eagle microphone, like for about $500.
$180 for a microphone.
Yeah.
When eBay will let you relist stuff for free. Before they started doing that, the fact they charge you for your ad, whether it's sold or not, that actually helped suppress the eBay prices. Because if you just kept running the same thing at a ridiculous price over and over, it'd eat you up in eBay and seller fees. It was when they started letting you relist stuff for free that the prices started going through the roof.
Yeah. Now, is there a certain amount that they charge for pictures and descriptions and all like that, or what?
Well, does you get like 1 or 2? I haven't sold anything lately, but it used to be like 1 picture free, and then more after that. I think they started charging for pictures. But I used to embed. I don't know if they still let you do it. I used to put a HTTP link, back to my server, so I could put as many pictures as I wanted to, but I was pulling them off my server.
Okay.
$1,200 for a CPI 2000.
Yeah.
$350 for an Static Echo Max 2000. Oh, for gosh sakes, he wants $150 for a 6LQ6 tube.
What was funny too, talking about that, I was looking up at ESC up there in Elkins, North Carolina. Not actually, it's right near there, right in there. And he had one of those 1625 tubes that back in the day, they sold for 9 cents a piece. I'm not lying. I got an old magazine for, they're 9 cents a piece. And you can get them all day long on, you know, eBay, you know, $7, $6. I bought them for $3. He wants something like $20 for one of them. That's what he used in the Elkin 12 tuber. One of them.
This can't be right. This says seller refurbished Cobra 148 GTL DX $470. This claims this guy bought this, and it's got feedback, but when I hit the link it shows the item still listed. Oh wait, no, it says has listed. Who the hell would pay $480 for 148 GTL DX?
Well now, is that the one 148 GTL F? Is that the one with a freak counter on it?
No.
Oh.
Did Mark show up on your video? Or I didn't see him post anything on mine. Maybe he's not listening tonight.
Who's that?
Mark in Charlotte, Alexander the Great.
No, I didn't see him in there. I gotta get ready to go in and check in on the old tube radio network there.
Alright, well, I'll go ahead and clear with you, and you and I may be the only ones left.
10-4. All right, then, Ranger, I enjoyed it there, and I'll catch you again, and I'm back out.
Alright, enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Night Ranger, sign it.